Hey guys, Blood here, and today I want to bring you a clip of a fight that I had not too long ago. Now, I usually wouldn't do a full commentary video on a frigate fight because they generally just don't last long enough or provide enough opportunities to point out a broad range of tactics or choices. However, I felt this fight really showcased the use of tracking disruption and how beneficial it can be in a frigate fight when taking on multiple opponents. I also feel that it provides an opportunity to talk about some piloting decisions when you're relying on tracking disruption to keep you from taking a large amount of damage. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump on in. In this clip, I'll be flying a Republic Fleet Firetail. I have it fit with 280mm artillery, as well as a rocket launcher for some extra DPS. I've got afterburner, scram, web, and tracking disruptor in the mids, and then a damage control, gyro, and small ancillary armor repper in the lows. And for rigs, I chose one collision accelerator, one aux nano pump, and an auxiliary thruster for some speed. The clip starts as I warp in on a thrasher at a large outpost. However, as I land, I see him warping off towards a small, and I give chase. As I land at the small, I see not only the thrasher that I was chasing, but also a Tristan, and it seems like they are engaged in combat. I quickly noticed that their corporation and alliance tickers are different. Now I see this as a great opportunity to join in the fight, but believe it or not, I'm more afraid of the Tristan than the Thrasher. My tracking disruption can be very effective against a Thrasher's autocannons or artillery, but not effective against the drones of a Tristan. As I lock both opponents up, I'm looking to see the health and status of each player, and this will play a large role in how I decide to apply my damage. Seeing that the Tristan is extremely low and having no sign of aggression from his drones, I decide to help him kill the Thrasher. As the second and third Thrasher land on field, I decide to apply my tracking disruption to the Thrasher while finishing off the Tristan. I notice that the third Thrasher came in at range, and while I'm a little concerned about the potential of artillery, I'm more focused on the Thrasher that I currently have tackled. As I check to see that the Thrasher I'm currently fighting is indeed autocannons, I'm also able to see that the Thrasher that came in at range is on the opposite side of my opponent. This means that I can choose an align point that will allow me to disengage without coming back into the Thrasher, as well as allows me the opportunity to spread out my opponents as they chase me. As I start to align, I see that the third Thrasher is micro warp drive fit, and I downcycle my scram and my tracking disruption in order to try and apply them quickly before he can get on top of me. The Thrasher I was originally engaging decides to pull away, and instead of chasing him, I decide to downcycle my afterburner and allow the third Thrasher to catch up to me so that I can engage without compromising my alignment. As I do so, a now fourth Thrasher joins the field as the second Thrasher burns back toward me. Knowing that my nanite has run out in my ancillary armor repper and feeling a little bit panicked, I decide to warp. Even though I was not in immediate danger, the choice to warp allows me to regroup, come back from a different angle, and choose how I want to engage. It also gives me time to reload my ancillary armor repper, repair some heat, and prepare a plan. As I return to the complex, I warp in at range, hoping that the group I had just fought will still be on the outside and will be interested in burning out towards me, hopefully to create some separation. Unfortunately, the group that I was fighting seems to be content inside the complex. As I start moving in towards the warp gate, I see another Thrasher on D-scan, and as it lands, I decide to engage. My new plan is to force his friends to make a decision, either stay inside their complex and allow him to die, or warp out of the complex and come back in order to hopefully try and help him. As I engage, I watch D-scan closely and see now a fourth Thrasher appear. He lands just as the Thrasher I'm engaging goes down, giving me the opportunity to engage freely. As I do so, another Thrasher lands at range. Now, I want to point out this is almost exactly how the first engagement went. However, this time, instead of the Thrasher that has landed at range being on the opposite side of my opponent, it has come in such a way that I am between the two Thrashers. And this is a much more dangerous situation. As I'm focused on applying damage to the Thrasher I was currently engaging, I notice the position of the Thrasher burning at me a little bit late, and because of that, I allow him to get right on top of me. Now my choice here is crucial. How do you react when your opponent gets right on top of you and you are unprepared? Instead of burning towards an aligned point, what I choose to do is overheat my tracking disruption and burn to the right. The idea being that if both thrashers are still intent on chasing me, they'll pull together in a line straight behind me. I keep my damage on the thrasher that's very low while applying my tracking disruption and scram to the thrasher that recently came in on top of me. This allows me to stay in damage range of the very low thrasher while avoiding the majority of the damage from the new thrasher that has joined. With only one thrasher remaining and having pulled significant range, I'm able to assess the situation. I'm completely out of nanite repair paste and my modules have significant heat damage. So as I re-engage, I'm being very tentative. I'm making sure that I apply my tracking disruption early and I'm watching the heat build up very carefully on my scram. As the thrasher gets low, I'm very low on capacitor. And the biggest danger to not having capacitor isn't actually my ability to rep, but my ability to apply tracking disruption. As a result, I pull some extra range because my disruptor is off, and the last thrasher decides to leave. In conclusion, when I look back at the fight as a whole, split into two separate engagements, there are some real opportunities for improvement. I think engaging on the outside of a complex was probably one of the biggest factors that affected this fight. While it allowed me to initiate certain engagements, it also allowed reinforcements to come in at a variety of angles and ranges. And while for the most part this worked out very effectively for me because my opponents were relatively disorganized, against another group who may have been more organized or more aware of their positioning, this could have been very dangerous. All in all, I'm pretty happy with this fight and it was a lot of fun when flying. Like I said at the beginning of the clip, I really think it showcased a strong use of tracking disruption, and how tracking disruption, allowing you to avoid a large majority of damage, can also allow you to take on multiple opponents simultaneously. As always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video informational as well as entertaining, and I appreciate any comments or feedback that you would like to leave in the comments below.